Welcome back, friends. It's Kate. This is a short and sweet splits class. We're going to get deep into our hips and open them up so that we can move into our splits a little bit easier. And remember that splits is a journey. It takes consistency in your practice. So save this class. It's meant to practice every day. If you do have a block or a pillow nearby, go ahead and grab those. You might want them when we get to the splits part of the class. And lastly, if you practice this class and you feel an opening and you feel closer to your splits at the end, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Tell me how long you've been practicing splits. And subscribe if you want more classes for flexibility. But let's go ahead and get splits in. All right, friends, let's go ahead and get started in a tabletop, just as a setup pose. And then we'll bring our right leg outside of our right hand and settle into a low lunge here. So energetically shine your chest forward, and that's going to stretch your right leg hip flexor. That's going to be really important as we move through this class and move towards our splits. So try to keep your knee over your ankle and try to keep it in line as well so it's not splayed out too much. Keep it in line. Sway your hips side to side. One thing that we'll do a lot in this class is we'll find movement in each pose. We never want to find a max stretch and then stay there. We always want to find a little bit of sway, especially in the hips. Since they're a ball and socket, they have a lot of mobility, and splits require a lot of mobility. So we're going to straighten through our left leg, send our hips back in space, and flex our foot back towards our face. Half splits. So find a really long spine here and then fold forward. And try to keep your your hip bones like the headlights of a car facing forward. Sometimes in this position, our left hip is a little bit more forward. So just click it back so that they're facing forward. It's going to give you a deeper stretch in the hamstring. It's going to move you more in the direction of your splits. That's the sensation that we want. So we'll rotate between this pose and the pose we were just in. On your inhale, rebend, shine the chest forward, sink, hips sink. Exhale, straighten and lower. Inhale, rebend, shine the chest forward. Exhale, straighten and lower. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Bring both hands to the inside of your leg if they're not already. Heel toe your foot out. And then drop to your forearms if you can. We're going to deepen this posture into lizard pose. Again, try to keep your knee over your ankle here. We'll move into a different variation shortly where you can open it up and it's a different sensation. But for now, pull it in and allow yourself to feel this in your hips. Breathe. And then come to the knife's edge of your left foot, open through your left leg, so maybe your knee comes closer to the ground. You can even gently assist it open and take a little bit of a back bend here to open into your left side of your hip. We'll take a few more breaths in this posture, moving with our breath here. Come back down onto our foot, flat, and then heel toe our foot to the right side of the mat, setting up for pigeon. So for a deeper hip stretch, bring your shin parallel to the short edge of the mat, or you can have your foot more towards your body. You can fold into your forearms here in kind of a more traditional pigeon, or if you really want to work the hip flexor on the right and strengthen your back muscles and a little bit more of your hip muscles, stay upright. Shine the chest forward. Ground the right hip down. Maybe even float your arms back behind you. Look up towards the ceiling. 3 more breaths here. Nice. Press into your hands, heel toe your foot back to the side of the mat. And we're going to tuck our back toe, swivel onto like a warrior 2 with our back foot, and then come into a side lunge, a Skandasana on the left. So both heels firmly on the floor, so maybe you're out of this posture a little bit more. But engage the core, engage the hips and the inner thighs. And we'll switch on over to the right just for a second. 1 breath. And then back on over to the left. Nice. Both hands down. We set back to our tabletop position. Maybe you circle your hips out a little bit. That might feel really nice. And then we will bring our right foot to the outside of a right hand. Low lunge on the right. So shine your chest forward here. Try to imagine that your left hip is magnetized towards the ground, so it's opening down towards the ground while your chest is shining up. The whole front chain of your body is lengthening. And find some sway here. Remember to keep your knee in line with your ankle, both vertically and horizontally, so it's not over your knee, and it's not splayed out too much to the side. On your exhale, straighten that front leg, send your hips back in space. Dorsiflex your foot back at you. That's going to bring the stretch down your calf through your ankle, the Achilles tendon, the arches of your foot, and your plantar fascia, your digital slips. Those are your little toe muscles. So flexing your foot activates the stretch down the lower part of the leg, and that's what we want also. And the splits as well. The whole back of the leg needs to be stretched and warmed up. So again, make sure that your hips are like headlights of a car facing forward. And find some little pulses here with your long, long spine. The deeper your breaths here, the more calm your body and mind are, and the more your body will open up for you. So don't try to force anything. Instead, relax into. Your stretches and your practices are going to go much further when your body or your mind isn't in a state of stress. So work with it, calm down, and breathe through. Let's take some rotations. Inhale, rebend, shine the chest forward, left hip comes towards the mat. Exhale, straighten and fold. Inhale, bend, shine the chest forward. Exhale, straighten and fold. Inhale, bend, shine the chest forward. Exhale, straighten, and fold. This one is different. Inhale, rebend, heel toe your foot off to the side of the mat, and then sink your hips in. Coming into a lizard pose. Maybe you sway your hips side to side, or you pulse them out, and then a little bit deeper. We're just playing with small movements to really break up the fascia in our hips, explore a little bit of new territory in our hips. A few more breaths here. Beautiful. And then heel toe your foot to the left edge of the mat, setting up for pigeon. And again, bringing your shin parallel to the top of your mat is a little bit more of an intense stretch, so you can bring it closer to your body. And find a pigeon that suits you where you are. Your pigeon doesn't have to look a certain way, but find the sensation in your hips. Find where you can go with ease. So maybe you can sit upright. Maybe you can float your arms behind you. Maybe you raise your chest a little bit taller. Two more breaths here. Nice. Plant both hands on the inside. Come up onto your foot, heel toe it all the way out to the outside of your mat. And then your back heel comes down like a warrior two stance. A low lunge, side lunge, or Skandasana on the right. So engage the core, engage the pelvic floor, but both heels firmly on the ground. Your long leg is straight and your knees and your toes are pointed up towards the sky. So now that we've done both sides, we're going to find a little bit more movement in these side lunges. So slide on over to the left, and then slide over to the right, to the left, to the right. Maybe you place your right hand down and you open up with your left hand. Maybe you go to the left. Place your left hand down, open up with the right hand. Beautiful. Come on down to a seat at the top of your mat or the middle of your mat. Bring bottom of the feet together here, Baddha Konasana. Inhale to a long spine. I like to grab my ankles here and then exhale, lean forward, and my elbows drive my knees down. So instead of trying to get my nose to the mat, where I'm rounding through my back and I'm actually contracting my whole front chain, instead, shoulders down the back, shine your chest forward with a long spine, and then try to get your navel towards the mat. Take little pulses here. Inhale, come up. And we'll take a straddle position. So, sitting long on your mat, we'll open up both feet as wide as possible. Sit up to a long spine. Legs are active here, so maybe you point or floint your foot, and then fold forward. And I like to find a little bit of sway here too. Always finding a little bit of like playful movement to get into the ball and socket of the joint. I feel like it helps deepen my own splits once I get to that posture. And maybe if you feel comfortable, you find stillness. Inhale to a long spine. And we'll set up for splits coming into our tabletop position. do our left leg first. So step up your left leg, just like at the beginning of class, coming into that low lunge position first, crawling your right foot out. An option for a block or your pillow here. If you find that you're straining, put a little block or your pillow under your booty here to support you so that you can calm down, calm your mind, and then your body can open up. Deep breaths here. Know that wherever you are stretching. You're moving in the direction. If you do have your splits, option to find movement here. So maybe you balance with no hands. Maybe your chest comes forward. And then you sit up straight, finding a little bit of controlled mobility. But wherever you are, we'll stay here for 5 more breaths. Beautiful. Slowly rebend your left leg. Start to heel toe it back until you're in that low lunge. Step it back into your tabletop position. Give your hips a little roll out. And then step your left leg into the low lunge. So sides may be different here. That's totally fine and totally normal. So straighten through your front leg, straighten through your back leg. My sides are definitely different from an injury I got a few years ago, and so I've been working on catching up my right leg to my left leg. It takes time. It takes practices like this, and it takes doing them consistently. Five more breaths here. Beautiful. Gently, gently, gently start to come out. Come back into a tabletop position. Maybe roll out your hips one more time. And then come down to an easy seat and enjoy some more space in your hips. And if you want more splits classes, there in the description, or if you feel like your shoulders need a stretch after all that lower body stretching, there's also a couple 10-minute shoulder cool down stretches in the description as well. So, namaste, sweet friends. I'll see you in the next class.